At some point in the next few hours, you will probably stop at a red light. You will not think about it. The light will turn red and your foot will move to the brake. The connection between that color and that action is so deeply embedded that it feels biological, as though human beings are simply wired to stop when they see red. They are not. The association between red and stop is not instinct. It is not even particularly ancient. It is a specific historical decision, made for reasons that had nothing to do with roads or cars or human perception, by an industry that existed decades before the automobile was invented. The traffic light system that governs the movement of billions of vehicles every day across almost every country on Earth was not designed by traffic engineers. It was not the product of any study of human color perception. It was inherited, almost by accident, from the railway signal systems of 19th century Britain. And the reason red means stop has more to do with the navigation lights of ships at sea than with anything a road planner ever decided. Before there were traffic lights, there were railway signals. And before there were railway signals, there was chaos. In the early decades of the railway age, the 1830s and 1840s, trains had no reliable way to communicate with each other or with station operators about their position, speed, or intentions. Collisions were frequent and catastrophic. The pressure to develop a reliable signaling system was urgent. Railway companies experimented with various systems. One early approach used human flagmen stationed along the tracks who would wave flags to signal whether the line ahead was clear. Red flags signaled danger or stop. Green flags signaled caution. White or clear flags, or simply no flags, signaled all clear. The choice of red for danger was not arbitrary. Red had long been associated with warning and prohibition across many human cultures. In nature, many toxic or dangerous animals and plants display red coloring, and human beings may have a mild, evolved tendency to pay attention to red stimuli. But more practically, red dye was among the most available and stable of colors in the 19th century, making red flags easy to produce consistently. By the 1840s, British railway companies had largely standardized on a three-color system: red for stop, green for caution, and white for proceed. This system worked until it did not. The white signal for proceed created a dangerous problem that took decades and numerous accidents to fully appreciate. White, as a signal color, is extraordinarily easy to confuse with other light sources. A white signal light could be mistaken for a star, for a lantern carried by a pedestrian, for a light from a nearby building, or simply for the moon. In conditions of rain, fog, or mist, common in Britain, the confusion was worse. In 1876, a significant railway accident was attributed in part to a locomotive engineer who had mistaken a white light from a building for a proceed signal and driven into an occupied section of track. The inquiry that followed accelerated the movement to replace white as a proceed signal with something less ambiguous. The replacement was green, and this created an immediate secondary problem. Green had been the caution signal. Moving green to proceed meant caution needed a new color. The choice that emerged over the following decades was yellow, a color visible at long distances and not easily confused with red or the new green. By the end of the 19th century, the railway signal system had arrived at red for stop, yellow for caution, and green for proceed, not through any deliberate design process, but through a series of incremental adjustments driven by accidents and their subsequent inquiries. But the story of red's specific meaning goes back even further than the railways, to the navigation lights used by ships at sea. Maritime navigation had for centuries used colored lights to help sailors understand the position and movement of other vessels at night. By International Maritime Convention, a ship's port side, its left side, was required to display a red light, and its starboard side, its right side, a green light. An observer could tell which direction a ship was moving and which side was facing them by the colors they saw. Red on the port side was the side of potential collision. When two ships were approaching each other head-on, both would show their red lights. The Maritime Convention already associated red with danger and the need for caution before railways existed. When British railway engineers developed their first signaling systems, they drew on what was already familiar, the conventions of maritime navigation, which red already meant warning. The transfer of meaning from sea to land happened not through deliberate decision, but through cultural familiarity. By the time the automobile arrived at the end of the 19th century, the red-yellow-green railway signal system was already well established in Britain and spreading internationally. But the early automobile created new problems that neither the railway nor maritime systems had anticipated. Cars moved through cities, not along fixed tracks. They interacted with pedestrians, with horse-drawn vehicles, and eventually with each other, in all directions simultaneously. The railway signal system had been designed for trains traveling on predetermined routes. It did not immediately translate to the complex, multi-directional flows of city traffic. The first traffic signal specifically designed for roads appeared in London in 1868, predating the automobile entirely. It was a manually operated gas-lit signal outside the Houses of Parliament, designed to control the flow of horse-drawn carriages. It used the railway convention, red for stop, green for proceed. It exploded within a few weeks due to a gas leak, injuring the police officer operating it, and was not replaced for several decades. The first electric traffic light appeared in Cleveland, Ohio in 1914, again using red and green, by then well established as the universal signal convention inherited from railways. Yellow was added to give drivers warning of an impending change, imported directly from the railway caution signal. By the 1920s, the red, yellow, green three-color system was spreading rapidly across American and European cities. For the first few decades of the automobile age, traffic signal systems varied considerably between cities and countries. Different cities used different arrangements. Some placed red at the top, some at the bottom. Some used two colors, some three. Some had additional signals for specific maneuvers. The push for international standardization came through a series of international conventions on road traffic in the 1920s and 1930s. The 1931 Geneva Convention on Road Traffic established international standards that included the red, yellow, green color system. Over the following decades, as international automobile travel and trade increased, the pressure to standardize grew stronger. By the late 20th century, the three-color system was effectively universal, observed in virtually every country on Earth. Today, there are a small number of exceptions. Japan uses a blue-green light for proceed rather than pure green. The Japanese language has historically used a single word for both blue and green in certain contexts, and the traffic light color was influenced by this linguistic tradition, though it has gradually shifted towards standard green. Some countries use flashing signals or additional colors for specific purposes. But the fundamental logic, red stop, yellow caution, green go, is one of the most successfully standardized conventions in human history. The answer to the question, who decided red means stop, turns out to be nobody decided. Not exactly. Red accumulated its association with danger and stopping through a series of overlapping systems. Maritime navigation, railway signaling, early road signals, each borrowing conventions from what came before and adding incremental modifications driven by accidents, practical problems, and the particular constraints of each new technology. The color that seemed most dangerous, most attention-grabbing, most unmistakably a warning, red, was the natural anchor. But the specific system of red, yellow, green that now governs road traffic in almost every country is not the result of any scientific study of human color perception applied to road safety. It is the result of ship navigation conventions migrating to railways, railway conventions migrating to roads, and the whole system then being locked in place by international treaties before anyone thought to ask whether there might be a better way. The next time you stop at a red light, you are participating in a convention that began on ships at sea, was formalized by British railway engineers dealing with a fog problem, was adapted for automobiles that nobody had yet invented, and was turned into international law by diplomats in Geneva in 1931. Nobody sat down and decided that red should mean stop. Red meant danger in maritime navigation. Railway engineers used what they knew. Road engineers used what existed. International bodies standardized what had already spread. The result is a system so universal that it now feels like physics, as though red stopping things is a law of nature, rather than the accumulated residue of one industry borrowing conventions from another, across more than a century and a half of incremental change, which is perhaps the most important thing this series has been trying to say. The systems that feel most inevitable, the ones so embedded in daily life that questioning them seems almost absurd, are often the ones with the least rational origin. They are the ones that arrived early, spread fast, and were never seriously reconsidered because everyone was already using them. Red does not mean stop because red means stop. Red means stop because a British railway engineer in the 1840s needed a color that was easy to see and not likely to be confused with anything else, and reached for the same choice that ship navigators had been making for a century before him.